So let's get started. I've got 5 tips for how you can manage to get through a job loss period. Number one, own your own morning. 6 a.m. reset. It can be 5 a.m., 7 a.m., 6 a.m. Pick a time, but make sure you get up in the morning. Wake up at that time every day, daily. This is so you can stack your mind and body to get primed. Work out, meditate, journal, review your plan. The whole purpose of this is to control the first hour, control the day. Because when you lose your job for the first time, you start to spiral. You don't notice it at first, but you can start to spiral. The days can slip by and you can start to feel a little hopeless. So this is the first thing, is to try to own your morning. That way, when you take over that first hour, you'll be energized and ready to take on the rest of your day. And that's really the mindset here. You have to take it one day at a time. Second thing, we lost our job. So, of course, we want to hunt for a new job. So, hunt like a pro. And that sounds like it sounds, but really what you're trying to do is committing to the idea of submitting multiple applications every day. Submit quality applications. Don't just mail it in and click the next button as you fill out the application endlessly and mindlessly. That's part number one, right? Where you want to own your morning, have that focus. So that way you're very intently applying for the jobs that are catered towards you and that you want to put in quality applications every week. Look at options like LinkedIn, Glassdoor, and other boards that are tailored to what you're looking for specifically. Look for jobs.com included. Customize your resume, customize your cover letters. I don't think you need to necessarily customize every single cover letter because the numbers start to add up. You don't need 100 custom cover letters, but you do want to have a good 5 to 6 different types of cover letters depending on the range of jobs you're applying for. And overall, you just want to be able to track the things that you've applied for, the things that you want to follow up on, and then the key part is when you're looking for these jobs, don't just stop at submitting the application. Do some research on who may be offering that job. If you can pick it out on LinkedIn, if you can see it on Glassdoor, do some research to see who's working in HR and reach out to them. Sometimes it's a very long shot, but sometimes it can work in your favor. So hunt like that, and you'll be successful. Third thing, okay, when you're looking for these jobs, don't just stop at the job boards. Start to broaden and think about who may be able to help you. So start talking about to your friends. Normalize the fact that you don't have a job. Friends, family that you can trust. And the key word is trust here because you can't tell everybody. You don't want to have to tell everybody because you do think of this as a vulnerable time. And not everybody's going to have your back. But what is key is and paramount is you start to normalize the fact that you don't have a job and that you're open and skilled enough to take on another job. So this may not always just be your friends. It could be random strangers that you meet at the local restaurant, the local grocery store, someone that you have a curiosity with. You could be sitting down with somebody and they may have an event going on. They might be a DJ or they might be working for a government job. You just run into them and you're just having a casual conversation on a train ride, for example, and you're just saying, hey, how do you get into that line of work? Those sorts of conversations can really open the doors and broaden your search to things that you may not be aware of, or they could, on the other side, be looking for you as well. The fourth one is, listen, when we lose our jobs, the first thing we think about is money, right? So we're not bringing in any money. We're thinking about the fact that because we're not bringing any money, how are we going to pay the bills? How are we going to eat? How are we going to keep a roof over our heads? So you want to try to do an audit, right? An audit sounds like a big financial planning word, but really it's just talking about, taking a look at your current situation, your bank account, the money you have under your mattress, however you're storing your cash, your savings, your liquid assets, your side incomes, if you have any. Take stock, take reference, do some homework on what you actually have. Do a couple charts. If you got to do it the boring way of going in Excel, or if you got to do it another way, do that and just make sure you have an understanding of, how much do you have? What is that line, where you hit rock bottom? Are you already at rock bottom? Are you past rock bottom? How much of a runway do you actually have? What's your boundary? And, most importantly, when you're in this, don't be too prideful. Make sure you try to apply for unemployment if you're eligible. Obviously, sometimes if you had a job situation where you wanted to quit, you quit, you're not going to be eligible for unemployment. But, pride won't pay the bills. So if you have that opportunity, take on the unemployment and get that assistance so that way it can help you shield yourself from the difficulty of being unemployed. And lastly, When I think about this, it's asset mode, not idle mode, right? And what that means is you're looking for jobs. You've got your daily routine of trying to get up early to start your day to take charge. You've taken stock of how much cash you have. And you also started trying to broadcast, talking to people as you go about your daily routines about what's available. The last thing is to try to get a income generating project for yourself. Whether or not that's a YouTube series, there's lots of content generation available today. Starting a YouTube channel is daunting. It is tough, but it's not impossible. And if you've got some things that you want to share to the world, it can be a pretty lucrative opportunity. Also, you can offer digital products, you can take courses, you can offer different services. Platforms such as Fiverr, Upwork, Gumroad, they are there to be platforms for you as a freelance person to offer out your skills. If you feel like you don't have any skills, then that's a greater time to start looking into educational tools. Look for certifications instead. And you can essentially treat this as like a second career lane, not just a placeholder, but something that you can focus on while you're waiting for those job applications to essentially come through and you get a response from those job recruiters. All right, guys, this is Home Screen Hustle, and these are my 5 tips, just in case you